me rock and roll. Wait a second. Wait a second. Today, Kiki's sharing. Kiki, your turn.
Yep. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Kiki.
Thank you. Thank you for attending today's HR Scrum. So I will just start the discussion from, let's start from my card first. Yeah. So for my update of a webinar networking with UNER. So as you can see in my activity comment, the number of registered participants is quite a
Oh,
lot. I
wow.
think it's all. Yes, you can see the registered apa sih registration report. Well, it's a lot, but yeah, that's a good sign. I think UNER promote our webinar very well. You can check their Instagram. And also, I don't think that we need to have any meeting, Jing, regarding apa sih, regarding this webinar. I think it's all clear. I already shared the term of reference or TOR of webinar with you. You just need to check and open it.
Got it.
So yeah, the webinar will be tomorrow, yeah, at apa sih, 1 p.m.
Wita, right?
1 p.m. 2 p.m. Wita, 1 p.m. Jakarta time.
Okay, got it. I see it.
Yeah, okay. And then for my update of UR Global, Harvard LSE, so I already sent the email and I'm currently waiting for positive response. And for my third card, I have a new card here. It's a UR National MOU with Maritime Tourism, uh, UNPAD. So basically, I'm having this discussion and currently negotiating an MOU with them. It's a long-term partnership, and we will give any update for. I will give any update for that. So yeah, that's pretty much from my card. Next to your card, G, is there any update?
Yes, please. Okay, let's go over to the first card. This is F.4. So this is just reusing templates on Trello. Let's see. I think HAR has begun to do this. I've checked that out recently, so I'll check that. And RM has actually done this too as well. So we've got everybody to take action on reusing template cards. Now it's just more of a habit of how to get this as a culture to the rest of the company. HAR, community, and revenue management are, I think, the actually revenue management not often, but HAR and community are the slowest on updating pivots. So it's probably going to take some time, but I think we can get there to this idea of reusing template cards. Okay, next to seeking professional guidance. This one is, I would say, it's sort of done, but I'm not going to file away because I still have some tail left over from it. So the tail is Jabu and some of these people who are still in the queue. The reason I think it's done because I found most of what we were looking to answer from LinkedIn Learning, which was actually kind of funny. And for the other part, HR people from Airbnb at least tend not to get back to us very often. So I think that one is tough. Actually, no, that's not true. Jason Silver just talked to us yesterday, actually. But in bulk, it's been very difficult to get in touch with HR people. But anyway, the objective is finished, but I just want to finish it out with Jabu. Jabu is pretty incredible. She was the founding HR leader at Airbnb, TaskRabbit, and Ship. And each of these three companies have had different outcomes. Airbnb went on to be a unicorn. TaskRabbit, I think, sold to a company, and Ship went out of business. So she was able to see three different outcomes at three different companies. And my question is actually how from an HR perspective that could happen, which is good to see. Next, okay, I've created a new pivot from the HR H1.0.1. So this is to help buy you out and the people on the product development team because I feel like they're experiencing frictions. So I'm beginning my outreach for product managers. So product managers are the people who sort of direct engineering teams and research to create and fulfill a great product. So I just begun with a outreach to Scott McMullen, and I will continue that. Next is to the second part, HR 1.2. This is another pivot from the first card, and this is now focused on university relations. So I found a few people on my LinkedIn that were almost as good as Kiki on university relations. But anyway, I found a few people that were quite skilled at university relations. This lady Chan had been, I forgot her first name. She had been working at Stanford for about 20 years in university relations. So I thought that could actually be a good beginning and also reinforce Kiki's work on university relations too as well by getting her some mentorship. Okay, next, effective ESS. So this one is ongoing. No updates on that, so I'll continue. Although Alethea has mentioned interest in helping to build this, so that will be good. And I think that might be something I'd like to delegate to Alethea as soon as she onboards. Next, giving culture of giving feedback peer to peer. I'm actually quite proud of how this is happening right now. So I do see that marketing is picking this up and they're very astute at it. So is HR. On community and HAR, I think those are still some things that need to be further developed as far as discovery and prioritization are concerned. But I do see on revenue management this has become a habit and action. So with the exception of community and HAR, I think this has already become a good an established habit. And these chapters I think are more ready for more independence as well. Okay, so that's the update on the culture of giving feedback, and that has actually been really good, also as well, because I noticed when we have interns now, it's almost like American Idol. Like we have a panel of people who actually know the topic really well. I think they're subject matter experts and they can give constructive feedback, and that's very different from before when we would just say, "Ah, that's great, that's fine, good job," and there was no difference between good proposals and bad proposals. So I think this culture of giving feedback has really evolved our sense of understanding what is good work and how to create good work. Masterclass with bigger. I'm going to most likely pivot from this into as the checklist shows. We're going to need to collect testing material from HR, HAR, finance, and content to create the correct tests for people who will be going through these classes. So that is my update, and I yield my time back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, Jing.
Yep.
Next to our card, please.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Chair. So first card about second onboarding trials is I considered it done with the final assessment of few points in here. So one, onboarding showing better result in group rather than individuals. Two, having a quick review with HR before the presentation day will help candidates. Three, check up candidates day on first day is good, even though Olivia said that second day should have another checkup again. And three, pairing each candidate specifically with representatives of the chapter member is good for engagement and mentorships with the chapters. Five, more video and longer video is less effective for candidates based on feedback with the interns candidate. And the last one is that candidate needs to understand how to read Trello board before day one to follow as meeting, not actually share screen, but to share Trello board. The last point is actually I'm trying to look up for the solution because like in the day one when shadowing Jing and then they attempt the whereby people are not sharing screen, right? People like now people are actually sharing the Trello, so they have difficulties on actually understanding how to read the Trello because it's not sharing screen. If sharing screen, we can see and understand, oh, this card, that card. But when you share Trello, you have to figure out which card that is being discussed, right? So in that sense, I don't know whether somebody needs to have a video tutorial about that. Might ask VDS, it's part of the IT tools, or how exactly, I'm not sure why. Because also the friction is that I think marketing have their own system that is different than the other chapters. So that's also another thing that is going to be complicated. because
Okay.
yeah, people might need two videos then about how to read marketing card and the others. That's
Mm.
that. So I would move it to done with the notes that it is attached to the next card. So wait, I'll move it to done. And then the next card is actually about third onboarding trial program with the attachment on the previous one. So for this one, the new pivot that I'd like to do on the next batch is that there are a few points there. First, Google Calendar schedule is already updated to the new schedule later on. And then second, quick review on research. Third, second day checkup on the interns. Four, pairing with chapter personally, one-to-one, like marketing candidates with one of the marketing representatives like that and the other chapters. And then five, attach video interns testimonial on video index just to watch and to understand the culture. Six, make a tutorial short brief how to read Trello card again as the last point on the previous card. And then six will onboarded candidates in team instead of individuals. And so yeah, onboarding will be formed in a team through FGD forum group discussion after the trial program. And then the next one, selecting leader of the team. Then and the last one is that pivoting on content of video index, which is I'm going to attach the intern testimonial with Bubu and Panda video most likely. That's that. And then the next one, Happy Hour. There is no much update on that one. I think Tandy and VD is come up with some game. But yeah, we'll roll out the poster tomorrow. And then for pre-screening letter, I have actually mentioned in here. So yeah, for Jing, maybe sir, I'd like to pivot to take down more videos. So let's make it stream and see the change, whether it's going to show significant change. So just put down, so just left one video to make people do the video and description and titles. That's that.
Oh, question.
And then for, yes,
So
Yeah.
clarification: do you want me just to leave one video, or
yes,
make the test select one video from eight?
select one video,
Okay, got
most
it.
likely.
All right.
But the selection, how much of so far, sir? Eight, yeah.
There's eight.
Eight or
Yeah.
I think just put it down to five now, sir.
Okay.
So they will select one.
Okay.
That's that. And then for Kiki, thank you for updating. You can actually start to screen. Um,
Yeah.
you don't have to actually update on who's exactly the person in
Oh
here.
yeah.
Just like maybe you can give the report on who, just like how many candidates, like the name, maybe that would be fine. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
that. Thank you, Kiki. And you can send me the invitations letter for me
Okay.
before you send it to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one about harassment at work. This is already, I considered it done because all models already created and I already attached it on the onboarding paper. So yes, this is going to be rolled out on the onboarding program starting from this sunflower batch. Okay, and then the last part about onboarding program. So far, I will have discussion with community tomorrow for the framework. So far that's already been done is marketing and HAR. So yeah, that's pretty much the update from me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Aura. So basically, all cards is already read, and then is there any additional discussion? I think that there's no additional discussion. Wait, let me check the discussion management. Okay, wait. Mm, it's so slow. Wait. So oh yeah, I'd like to ask about the pre-screening letter for LinkedIn applicants. Do we actually already did we actually attach the due dates?
So far, there is no actually due date for this one because it's keep on going to have pivot and iterations. So yeah, there
No,
is no specific.
I mean the due date for the candidates to submit their writings.
Oh no, so it's not working with deadline. So I invited people from
Oh.
LinkedIn to visit the blog, and then they can apply
Mhm.
whenever they want. They can finish the task whenever they want. We can consider their application once they finish their submission.
Do we actually need to set a deadline for them?
Mm, what do you mean by deadline? Like from LinkedIn to blog or from blog to Trello card from the website?
From the apa sih to submit their writings to G form to the form.
No, we don't have deadlines for that because so far kan people applied from LinkedIn, and then I moved them from LinkedIn to the blog to submit that. So some people are finish the task, and some people not even submit and like not withdrawn their applications. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I
Jing.
I would actually suggest that we have a deadline because then, let's say, for example, after you've invited them to the blog, you can delete their application, right, after 2 days. And that helps the pipeline move. If, if let's say just from a logistics point of view, you send out you send out all the invitation letters, right, from LinkedIn, and then you still have these candidates that sort of like are in limbo, right, between if there's no deadline. But if there is a deadline, then you can reject everybody who didn't do a submission 2 days after the invitation. You can say, hey, look, this is a exercise. You have 48 hours to complete this, and blah 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 blah. What that does is it creates a cleaner system, I think, because then people will know, did I pass or what happened, and there's this feedback. I think the end step of every recruitment is either a acceptance to the next stage, or you have now been out of consideration, right? So that they
Mhm.
know. If we don't set a end date to the like Kiki said, if we don't set a deadline, then essentially it's never over. Or and it's kind of like, are these people pass or not pass, right? So
Mm.
I think it can be maybe 2 or 3 days. You can say like 48 hours or 72 hours, and then it makes it very clean. You can just dismiss everybody who has not sent in a submission.
Because I thought, sir, it's not like we considered their application yet before they enter the Trello card.
Ah, okay. Before
So
they okay,
because like without even a deadline, we have a very least small number of applicants, right?
yeah,
So that's why I don't think that we should put deadline on that one. We should put deadline once they enter the candidate tracking Trello board. That's what I
okay,
think.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. Up to you then. Yeah, I think you. Okay, that's a good point. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to chat.
Yeah. Thank you, Aura and Jing for the feedback. And I see there's no additional discussion in the discussion management. So I think we can end this meeting now, and I will select the next chairperson along with the secretary. The next, why didn't we record? Oh, we record this. I'm sorry, I didn't see the record. Okay, the secretary will be me, and what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I'm here. Yeah, I put the shirt together and I'm balancing. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, and and Ara will be the chairperson for the next HR Scrum. I think I will see you guys on Friday.
No, no, with feedback.
No, oh the feedback. I think you guys doing good. No, why apa Aletheia didn't join us
Good
today's Scrum?
feedback. Good feedback. Okay, let's go to all right.
Okay. So their trials already been finished for
Oh.
yesterday. So that's why they're not she's not joining today at her scrum. And then oh actually this is a discussion that I need to ask though. So this is also another pivot that I'd like to heard about you guys' thoughts is that so after the trials, I will roll out. Usually, I will roll out the assessment, right, and then we'll ask for each committee to fill out what are the feedback and everything. And then after that, I will just directly deliver to each candidate. But for this batch, what I like to ask is that shall we having a meetings with HR and committee, or just from the paper HR can directly decide? Maybe over to Kiki first. Which one do you think is better?
Mm, I don't know. We didn't need to have any meeting as long as the rollout assessment paper are clear. But
Okay.
how about you, James? How about you?
Okay.
I
Okay.
I think I'm trying to make this process simpler, right? So I would think, hmm, I'm wondering, Ara, if we can combine the assessment with the research project feedback, right? Like what we did today. So the assessment and the research project feedback is just done at the same time. And that would then, because right now I have to go and write the research project assessment, right? So that's like another step. But
Mm-mm.
to answer your question, I think I think if here's my bottom line. If the candidate is able to find a willing mentor, then that's a pass, right? And this is a feedback system because I think anybody who let's say agrees to take on a mentor role needs to also. This was a problem that we had before. We would always blame the mentor if the candidate didn't turn out right, right? And what was
Mhm.
the problem with that is that selection is the highest sort of control that a mentor has over the quality of a candidate. So I think inherently the feedback cycle should be if the mentor has picked a bad candidate, then they would suffer for it, right? They would be
Mhm.
frustrated by it. So ultimately, that means that if the mentor has chosen the candidate, then they've agreed to take this person on, and this person can be integrated into the company. So um, I think our job is to bring and make sure that we have quality candidates up to the very last stage where there's a buddy exchange. And if there is an agreement at that stage that this person will mentor the candidate, the intern, then effectively they've passed, right, through the program. But I'm I'm also, yeah, I'm not sure actually, to be honest. I'm not sure. I was just thinking like from a logic point of view. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Ara.
Because like from yesterday, what I did is that on the role assessment paper, I will just put average on each people, like content evaluation previously. So if everybody give on the assessment paper more than average three, then it's a pass. So that's as simple as that.
Okay.
But yeah, what are the what is it already a good process, or should I pivot to another thing?
I think so. I think the eventual convergence is this. I think we saw today that we could probably give a little bit more clarity on sort of what the project proposal should actually, like the grading framework for the project proposal, right? Same as what's on the assessment. If we let, I think, candidates know beforehand that we'll be evaluating them on discovery, on prioritization, problem solving, and execution, then I think their presentations will converge like Husby did, right? It was a little bit more in the correct format. And yes, then if they have passed, I guess it's up to you. Once again, you have control over what the minimum passing score is. If you need more interns, maybe lower it. If you need less interns, then you can make it higher. So you have control over the flow through the system. And then, yeah, I think if they get above what you consider a acceptable passing grade, then I think they're done. To
Okay.
have more discussions about it again is to just add more. Yeah, I don't think we need that. I really don't think we need that anymore because the idea is how do we build a system, right? And it's important then for the people who are selecting to know that this assessment is the way that the system works. And as long as that's understood, then I think the correct expectations will be placed on the assessment is the pass or no pass for that candidate if you want them. Okay, so
Mm, okay.
I think that's it. Ultimately, we want to make this as easy as possible. And I
Yeah.
think you were here when we used to do the carousel interviews, right? We used to
Yeah.
have, yeah, and you could see that wasn't really that effective either. So
Mhm.
I think the new system should be efficient. It should have essentially everybody knows that this is the way that we select candidates, and if they get above a certain score, then they're in, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
then sir, I'll keep the method.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, RNG, for that. So for any feedback from me, I think you guys are doing great. But let's see. For Ara, I praise how detailed you are in reporting the onboarding apa sih, onboarding results, onboarding program result. I think it's a good step. And also for Jing, hmm.
Itu loh nggak ada update.
Yeah, Jinx is, oh my god, Jinx is barely put apa sih, update on their activity comments. I kind of noticed between me and you, Ara, and Jinx is the least of put any comment. I mean, you can try to put any comment or any update in your comment activity because it eases the secretary for HR Scrum. And for my feedback, I see that I forgot to put number for my third for third card. Yeah, that's my bad. I will give the number here. And also, I forgot to attach the Tor for UNER webinar. That's my feedback from my card. Yeah, Jing, what's your
And
thoughts?
you didn't use the due date, and you didn't tag yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I yep. I will use my do that, and then of oh yeah, yeah. I noticed that I didn't use due date for the third card. Yep. Thank you, Jane. So that's pretty much from me. I will end this meeting. Don't forget to yep.
Oh,
What's
one more, Mrs. Chair. I have noticed a potential prioritization issue that might come up on your stack. So currently, I think this goes back to what Jason Silver was talking about. Kiki, were you there for that one?
no.
Okay.
It's in the morning, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was a really good talk. Jason Silver was really cool. He mentioned something I think that is actually very uh, it's a very strong takeaway for HR. Let me go to Ara. What do you think was Jason's most key takeaway for you?
Um, ini apa hiring needs to apa a good HR should have a very sharp intuition because the offer that we can give to the candidates is basically very artsy that it can be different from one candidate to another.
Okay, all right, good. And how does HR stop interruption in the company cycle? Do you remember what he said about that?
How does the one to zero to one and then 1 to 10 is that what you mean?
No, that's actually hiring people for each stage of the company, which is also a good takeaway. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll jump onto the point. The point is a pipeline. So you always need to have a pipeline going so that
Oh yeah,
you will
good
have,
HR.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Kiki, in regards to your pipeline is going to be empty very soon, right? Um,
Yeah.
your last card for UNER is done tomorrow, right? And the Harvard thing is a long shot. So you have nothing in your pipeline anymore. So this is actually you have the MOU with Marine Maritime Tourism and UNPAD, so that could be in the middle part of your pipeline. So whenever you're doing HR, you want to make sure that you have some long-term projects that will deliver, you have some short-term projects that will deliver, and you have a middle project. For Harvard and LSE,
Um,
that was really to the reason I thought that would be good is to inspire you, right? because I could see that you are challenging yourself to new goals and you're making progress. And generally, when I see people do that, they feel more confident. Like Cynthia was a very good example. Cynthia didn't think that she could ever do a webinar with all these people, but she did, and now she's like thinking about like doing PR full time, right? So that elevates your confidence level, and that elevates your career too, in a quick way. So when you do that, there is going to be there's going to be a lot of challenges. It's very uncertain because it's zone of proximal development. It is very far away from what you have currently done. The next thing you can think about doing is, okay, how do I build up to Harvard, right? Is there another regional university in this area that I can target? Maybe I can target Stanford or Berkeley or some of these other universities as well to try it out. And so then you start filling up your pipeline. Because I think starting from tomorrow, your pipeline will be empty. You have a pipeline collapse, right? So then it will take a while to build up that momentum again. It could be good. It could be a good time to sort of refresh and just kind of reflect on what you've done. But yeah, for HR people, we always need to have something in our pipeline so that if something's finished or it doesn't go according to plan, we have a replacement right away. So that's something I saw that's kind of on a prioritization level. But yeah, quick one to Ara. Ara, I have to fill out the assessment again, yeah?
Yeah, for everyone.
Okay. All right, yeah. I have carpal tunnel syndrome now from typing so much. I feel like my wrists are like so. Ah,
Actually, there is, I don't know in Dropbox, but in Google Docs, you can actually just talk and then the screen will type by itself.
I'll do that and then I'll copy it over onto Dropbox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just copy paste, right? You don't
Okay.
have to type much.
That's interesting. Huh.
Mhm.
I've noticed one thing. Written communication tends to be more clear than spoken communication. It has a higher signal to noise ratio. Yeah, so I'm going to have to
Maybe.
think about, yeah. Well, look, if you made a transcript of all the things that we've spoken about, how much of the transcript would actually be filler words? Like, these things are they don't really add any, yeah, like that. Like you're just doubling up what you're saying, and then you're going on tangents, and it doesn't have that compactness that written communication does. But that's my greatest challenge with dictation. Okay, but that's my feedback for Kiki. Yeah, so keep an eye on it.
Yeah, thank you, Jing. I want to ask too. I believe the pipeline things is not only apa sih related to HR, but to other team, I believe. So have we actually apa ya? Apakah ini sudah diterapkan pernah nggak sih kita melihat apakah ini sudah diterapkan oleh
Okay.
apa sih orang lain dari apa sih tim lain?
It's something new, yeah, Kiki, that I've seen because I was thinking about, for example, here's an example. When people challenge themselves, I notice it's really good, right? So
Yeah.
they go from 0 to 1, and now they want to go from 1 to 10. But when you go from 1 to 10, it is actually probably it's probably 10 times as harder than to go from 1 to 2. Oh well, that's just natural, right? That's obvious. So then what happens is that, let's say yesterday this came up. Rian was doing really good on professional networking. He was getting a lot of these community managers to come. So then Rian all of a sudden thought, I'm going to get people from the NFL and Major League Baseball to be come to our professional networking and give us advice on developing community in sports. So I said, that's great. I actually think that's really ambitious. That's really cool. But you're going to have to realize that your pipeline is going to empty out now. And the analogy I saw was in this particular case, where when you're trying something challenging, it might take quite a while to build the muscle to actually be able to do that. So in the meantime, there wouldn't be any progress. So I think what I told Rian was to split it. Yeah, like you do one part on the 10, and you do one part on going from 1 to 2. So that way you're always able to have like a good flow, right? You're getting some progress.
Yeah.
You're also working on some long distance goals too at the same time.
I think apa ya? We can detect this apa sih pipeline system to other apa sih employees. Like I don't know whether we already checked that or, but I think it's a good idea to check apa sih each employee pipeline system, pipeline project, something like that. We
Definitely.
can we can actually watch it. It's just like yeah, we can open their card and then their project and see how their workflow actually. But I don't know. It's just an idea.
It's a very good idea, Kiki. I think it's a really good. This is why we use Trello. It's a way of managing and being able to monitor
Hmm.
the progress. From what I can see, let me go out and reach out to you, actually, Kiki, for this information. Do you see any particular chapters or people who have essentially this pipeline issue?
I haven't actually checked all of them actually.
Okay.
Maybe after this.
Okay, I'll keep my eyes open for it. And I have noticed, yes, what I think progress looks like is you should like revenue management. They keep on moving from pivot to pivot to pivot, and
Hmm.
so there's not ever too much stuff that sort of just stays there and never moves. They keep on going from one idea to the next idea to the next idea. Um, so I think that's good. That's always a good sign that the pipeline is moving.
Hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
that's.
also, Kiki, a new note also. So the candidate tracking is going slower right now. So maybe you can add up your pipeline in this board to actually start into contacting another university. So also like my
Okay.
other thing is that you can contact 3 to 4 university at the same time because if you're only shot one at one time then it might probably slow and we don't know what are the condition, right? For example, now you're
Yep,
targeting
yep.
Harvard, and as you know, Harvard is right now having not in the correct time to
Yeah.
having an internship. So maybe you can rely on another 3 choices if you shot for university at one point, one time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ara, for that feedback and
Okay,
updates. Yep.
sure.
Uh, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We can officially end this HR Scrum. It's been 3 times. So thank you, guys. See
Thank
you.
you. Have a nice day. See
See
you.
you.
Okay,
Have a
thanks.
nice day, guys.
Okay, bye bye.